All right. I think we have a decent lot. Going to pause chat for a bit. ठीक है भाई, very good, very good. We usually start around 7:02, but let's wait a little more for people to join. Until then, let me give you guys a preview of this place. This isn't my sort of place, it's a friend's sort of studio. One second, the focus seems messed up. And it's a Saturday, so no one's here. So I've been setting things up myself. Let's see. So this is the studio thingy. It's pretty... I don't want to move too much if I'm being honest. Oh, sorry. This camera is a different one. My bad. You guys won't be able to get a preview. It's a nice studio. I can actually change camera. Let's see. All right. Sort of a place. Never mind. I underestimated how difficult this will be. There you go. All right. It's pretty chill. We won't be doing any more classes from here because, well, it's not very, especially in coding, it's very hard to code in a studio like this. But let's go back to our original camera. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it's a decent sort of setup. From now on, the setups are going to be very messed up, like hotel rooms and, normal rooms. ठीक है? I think it's 7:03. We can start. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining. We have a few people here. This is an introductory class, so not too much to cover. Very high level. We'll keep it under an hour, and we'll open up for questions at the end. Although I think it'll be hard to read questions right now, but we'll see. Okay. This is 100x Devs cohort 2.0. This is the 0 to 1 part that we're trying to discuss today. So if you are part of the second cohort, a lot of items that I'm going to talk about today, most of them might not be very actionable for you. If you are in the 0 to 1 cohort, if you are generally a beginner, this is going to be a pretty high level overview of what's coming. This is mostly just meant for extremely beginner people to not get overwhelmed. Just give a structure of what's coming and what are links to keep in mind for the next few weeks. Okay? Today's class is a 1 hour orientation. Just going to set the context for the cohort, especially for complete beginner. Oh shoot, I should have kept it on the other side. Never mind. Some very high level things. A lot of information, a lot of text is going to dump a lot of information on you guys, and then we'll try to cover this quickly. Then we'll do an AMA. Please, in the AMA, try to ask questions that are generic, that can like help everyone, because I see a lot of people have joined. So if the questions are like personal, then everyone won't be able to sort of be benefited from them. But Discord is always there for like personal questions. Tomorrow is when we start coding. I'll share the structure of this week, next week, and the next few weeks, so you can prepare, not get overwhelmed, all that jazz. Okay. What's the goal of the cohort? At a high level, it's becoming a good full stack engineer. Great, maybe. Learning how things are being done in good companies and startups. Basically very industry ready sort of a thing. I discussed this yesterday in my YouTube live. Okay, the whole curriculum was just me randomly very sleepy one night when we decided that we're doing the second cohort, just writing down everything I'm using currently in like a Canva file, a very ugly Canva file, and then just putting it at the end of 5 years after IIT. It was very, it was written very randomly based on what I've learned and a lot of things that you see here are things that I just learned 2 months ago to sort of implement in my company. So this will happen in the future as well. We have a long cohort ahead of us, like 3 to 6 months. I think 0 to 1 is going to be more than 3 months from the current feeling that I get. So in these 3 to 4, whatever that timeline might be, more things I might learn, and those we will add to the curriculum. The curriculum is it's not a standard, class or month stack sort of a cohort. And for the same reason, it might feel overwhelming at some points, because all of these are advanced things not discussed everywhere, not on YouTube, not on other places. So, it's hard for you to find resources to learn it. But with the high level goal, especially after the first month, is going to be, focusing a lot on these things, these like heavy, hard, new things that are not available everywhere. Learning all the right practices of writing and deploying code. We are going to focus a lot on open source. When you write open source code, everyone can look at it. So it'll be a very brutal course. I will be berating people, calling them out when you ask simple questions to TAs, when you do a bad contribution. That's how you learn. Don't feel bad and don't get offended. That's the best way to learn. If a senior of yours, that happened to me as well. This is why it comes from experience. Okay, a senior of yours high level guides you, this thing is very wrong. Don't do it. That's the most brutal, rude way to tell help someone improve. Only if you take it well. So try to take it well. We all mean well, but the TAs will be instructed to, be a little teachy for a while, and so will I. So hopefully that's not too bad, and you guys can bear with us. Building projects of your own is another sort of high level goal. Very assignment driven. 3 projects. We generally have one for 0 to 1, but there are a bunch of other projects that are now coming in. For example, we've brought the website in-house. A lot of features there are going to get built from you guys. I'll share more details in the future, like in a future slide. But at a high level, I've built some features. I've built the basic of the code base that you guys will be learning on. We might not be open sourcing it, but we will basically open source it to you guys. So you guys can look at it, some parts, and contribute to them. And there's a bounty pool that has been created. That is at least one project that's completely going to be driven by you guys. And at a high level be reviewed by me and the TS, but you guys will write production scenario code there. I will review it as a production sort of engineer who is, looking at open source contributions and calling you out if you do bad things like this. Okay? It's a mini internship sort of a thing in a good company that is being used by you guys only, the app.100xdevs.com website. Trying our best to aim for GSOC, jobs, internships, startups, all these things. There is a very big trying our best here. We want to try our best. The outcome's pretty much not in our hands, especially for jobs. GSOC is still pretty much in our hands because, there are 1,000 vacancies. So you just have to be in the top 1,000 people. But for jobs, depends on 100 different factors. We will see how the market recovers. Does it recover? Does it not recover? Even in the current market, people are getting jobs. All of that is out of my control, but we will aim our best to do that. Okay? That. Alrighty. Pick a category. There are 3 high-level categories I feel people are in. Complete, beginner, mid, and advanced. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to navigate the cohort if you line one of these categories, and please decide your category correctly. Don't try to run ahead or behind or whatever. We will be adding you into Discord subgroups for beginners, mid, and advanced. You can only join one, so join very wisely. We will share later how you can do that. And in this group, depending on what crew you're on, this is how you should navigate the code. For complete beginners, which means you've never coded at all, or you've coded maybe other things like Java or DSA, but have never coded the MERN stack. But like more specifically, just complete beginners. Ke, haan, bhai, 0 to 1, I'm really at the 0 bit. 20 to 25 hours a week. If you think you cannot commit that, it will be hard. You will drop off almost certainly at some point. Initially, especially with the pace of the cohort, even though we're trying to, pace it humbly, coding is hard, especially for someone who's never coded. So bare minimum, you should put like 20 to 25 hours a week. First few classes will be okay because we'll go very slow. After that, third week onwards is when you will feel slightly overwhelmed. This is where most people drop off. Please don't drop off. I'm just going to check if everything is on the up and up. Yeah. Doubt sessions from time to time. So one thing we'll introduce here is, especially in the initial few weeks, not initial few weeks, maybe like third week onwards is when people drop off, is when we'll do doubt sessions only for this lot to, help you with some smaller bugs, smaller issues, basic things that you might have missed. Some of these will be led by me. Some of these might be led by other people. Mostly they'll be led by me only. I just thought this like right when I was writing this slide. So just came to me. So I haven't figured out the logistics, but it will be a live doubt session. So we'll try to just solve doubts in it and nothing else from, the last week or something like that. Start to create a smaller subgroup of 3 to 5 people, do peer coding, solve each other's issues. That's the best way to learn, especially at this stage, because, if you're alone, most probably almost 100% of the time, especially when like completely, not even in a college, if you're alone, if you're not in a hostel, you're back home with your family, there's a good chance of a drop off. To prevent the drop off, I would urge you to, find a 3 to 5 people subgroup, and it's fine if you're behind everyone. You should just make sure you're better than you, or the group is overall all growing, even if your group is like behind everyone generally, because you're in the 0 category. Okay. Let's see if everything is on the up and up. All right. Do not attempt bounties. Initially focus on solid foundation. See, it's very lucrative to, ChatGPT a bounty, especially at this stage, and try to win money. Almost guaranteed it will be hard for you to win. At least if that's your motivation to win money, will be probably hard. And also more than money, even if you win the money, it'll be such a useless exercise to, try to win $50 and, go out of your way, your proper learning pattern to, solve a random bug that's going to help the website. So don't do it. Don't focus on bounties. Just focus on basic foundations, basic assignments. Okay. Don't aim for GSOC organizations until the very end, if at all. I said this before in the live as well, that if you're at the 0 stage, most probably GSOC is going to be very hard, almost impossible, which is fine. It comes the next year as well, is when you sort of can be very aggressive. But this year, again, if you try to aim for that, right? Personal story here is 8th May I started to learn for IIT JEE, and that was a pretty bad thing. I shouldn't have done it. The reason for that is it gets overwhelming, and then you don't feel like pursuing it. You start to fear a specific stack. So to avoid you fearing a specific stack, Go slow, especially if you're in this category. Don't focus on big things. What are big things? Bounties and GSOC contributions. Hard to-dos of all assignments. This is one thing that will be good to do. This is one thing that will, increase your level slowly and slowly. Basic and medium to-dos you have to do in an assignment that will come after our live classes. The hard to-dos will help you sort of accelerate. So focus on these rather than focus on, GSOC. If you want to do something difficult, these will be very difficult. Google these, ChatGPT these, and work on these if you're in this stage. Post about your progress. Keep yourself accountable. This does help. I saw one person's Instagram today who is going to apparently I don't know. It's very hard to do this, but he's going to document his whole journey on Instagram. Do that if that helps you be accountable, or post on Twitter, whatever. Just try to do whatever 30-day, 60-day challenge if that helps you. It'll give you some. I'm excited to see people who try that. I think it's very hard to do. It was 30 days, 60 days. But you should, especially if you're in this stage, because drop off is the worst thing at this stage. That you just get filtered out very quickly, and even third week, fourth week ke baad, I see a significant drop off, which is when we introduce Node.js. So at that point, I would urge you to, let us know, doubt sessions, whatever that thing that's stopping you, and we'll try to, pick it up. Okay? All right. Try your best to not get filtered out in the initial few weeks. All right. This is for the first category. Second category. Oh yeah. This is I have coded in other languages, done DSA and not done once. The previous one was literally no coding. This one is some coding, some DSA, the standard things I've done. MERN is what I want to learn right now. I've never done MERN, or very little I've done. React I saw a random tutorial, or JavaScript I've written for kiddie projects, whatever. If this category is you, 15 to 20 hour week is good. You don't need more than that. Does not hurt if you have more than that, but this is bare minimum expectation. Initial classes should be okay. Probably easy because you've coded in other languages, and you can it'll be okay for you if you can context switch well between languages. If you understand logic, if else, for loops, all these things, you'll be able to context switch to a different language, which in our case is JavaScript. 7th week onwards is when you will feel a little overwhelming. The reason for this is here we will introduce the things that are not standard, not really available other places, so it's harder to Google them, harder to find the solutions, and generally, like, why are we learning this? A small example here is TypeScript. Okay, it feels like, why are we learning this? Kaam chalta hai, we can JavaScript is enough. Why do we need TypeScript? There are good reasons for choosing TypeScript. This is where it's easy for someone who has coded to learn basic MERN stack, because basic website building is easy. The advanced concepts is when you'll feel like dropping off, or feel like this is not necessary, I don't want to do it. You'll feel like sticking to your comfort zone. That's the best way to put it. So at that point, sort of step outside of your comfort zone. Until then, chill. If you don't want to attend classes, it's fine. Don't waste your time anywhere. You don't have to attend every class. If you know something, don't attend the class. Focus on something else, learn something else. Come back to the offline video if you want to, and skim through it. But yeah, try to break out of beginner's hell. It's a very bad place to be. It's the lot that feels that they know how to code but can't ever find jobs. So you'll find this in comments of YouTube videos also. Generally, people say, I know everything, I'm not getting a job. Are there not opportunities? The answer usually is you don't know everything. You know a very small thing, which is how to build a basic website. Interviews are hard today. When the interview is grilling you, he or she is grilling you in every corner of things that are covered. What are these corners, Harkirat? Front end they will cover, back end they will cover. In back end they will go very deep. Front end also they will ask you which one is your experience, or your strength, and then in your strength they will go very deep and ask you questions that are definitely, you can only answer those questions if you code on a day-to-day basis. There are a lot. For a very small example here is, what are reconcilers in React? You will never know them until you understand what they exactly do, why they came into the picture, things like these. So basically, try to, again, comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Think that feels difficult to do it. Do all assignments, especially hardest to-dos. If you're already in this stage, hard to-dos are like a bare minimum for you. Make sure you do them. Focus on GSOC from 4th week onwards. Abhi ke liye don't do it. Just get a base of Node.js, JavaScript, maybe even TypeScript. Then, and Git and GitHub, things like these. Then go to GSOC projects. That's your cue to start contributing, which is basically end of December. Don't wait for anyone. This is the right time. It's already very late. So if GSOC is what you're targeting, 4th week onwards, December end, start contributing. At least start setting up projects. Would urge you to post on Twitter when you make an open source contribution. Do a bounty, hard to do's, things that most people in the cohort are not doing. The high level benefit of this is just to get noticed by other people, recruiters, things like these. Also to keep you accountable, and you can actually do these things. A lot of people in the beginner lot will initially not be able to do it. You can do it, especially if you're making an open source contribution. Post about it, let people know. Okay, last category. Already know MERN, okay/well. cohort 1.0 students. So yeah, isme initially 0 hours a week is fine for you. It will be very basic. You will feel like what is happening. So don't, well, it is beginner friendly, dude. I mean, there is a perception I don't teach beginner friendly things. That is sort of true. We skip a lot of things, but the first few weeks will be sort of very, very basic. So don't attend the classes. Look at the title. If it feels you already know this, if this was covered in 0 to 1, or not 0 to 1, in the last cohort, don't join the class. It'll just waste your time. Skim through it if you need to later on in a recorded fashion, but generally try to avoid it. Shouldn't feel overwhelming maybe throughout if you already know it. If you were a cohort 1 student, it won't be overwhelming. There might be a few new topics that you learn, but won't be overwhelming at all. Feel free to miss live classes, at least initially. Feel slow, skim through the recorded videos later. GSOC. So यहाँ पे भाई focus a lot here. Start GSOC today. If you already know the MERN stack well, if you are already a cohort 1.0 student, it means the only thing that's left now is to either you are not good at MERN and you feel like you're good at MERN, or you are good at MERN and are not contributing. So pick and choose which side, and if you're on the other side, start contributing. Have that end goal in mind. Don't do it at the very end. Don't start contributing to GSOC at the very end. It's why to leave things to chances when you already know it. There is an opportunity out there. Start doing it. Why am I focusing so much on GSOC? Because it's the easiest outcome from this cohort. Okay, haan bhai, paid $50, got back whatever, $3,000. So win-win for everyone. So, and also like, it's the one place where I can guarantee there are vacancies, right? Remote jobs, no one knows. There are normal jobs, I don't know. Completely out of control. What is in control? Vacancies that are already open. So would focus on this if you want to. I mean, again, depends on whether or not you want to do it. But if you want to do it, if you're in that category, that this is the time to start. If you need extra classes on GSOC initially, let us know, especially for people who are cohort 1 students, whatever. Beginner people, don't join these classes. You will get overwhelmed very bad. So I want to do these GSOC live classes. I will discuss this later on, which are like other than the standard course curriculum. So only people who know a little bit join these. You will feel overwhelmed other people and there's no point. Okay? You will curb the outcome of this cohort and become the person people look up to. Haan bhai. So if you're already in this category, so you are going to be the outcome creators from here. So make sure you're focusing highly on outcomes now, because it's easy to do things again and again. Start getting that freelancing client. Start going to Upwork. Start building projects at a real world. Make your own open source projects. I don't know. Do hard bounties. Help me out build the project. Things like these. You need to sort of start doing that now, because how much will you learn? After a point, you don't want to learn. I'm sure there's a 90% of the lot in this cohort is the people who want to learn. That is what we're focusing on as well. At the same time, this lot needs to start to get out and motivate the other folks. Okay, ji? Done. Actionable things to do today. If you haven't already done these, a lot of people have, but if you haven't, join Discord. Make sure you are in a subgroup. If you are not, then post in the verification issues channel. For people who have never used Discord, would urge you to Google a bit. Go to YouTube, find what is Discord. It's like WhatsApp and Telegram. Go to our course dashboard. It will take you to the main website, which is app.100xdevs.com. Sign in there. Click on the join Discord button. When you do, it will put you inside GSOC and you'll be fine. Okay? Make sure you're verified. The instructions are there in Discord. Make sure you do this before tomorrow. If you want to slowly, get into the groove now, and focus just on coding and not all of these auxiliary things. Okay? Make sure videos work for you. So go to app.100xdevs.com. Make sure you see your purchases there. Go into one of the warming up videos that we have posted already. Make sure it's working for you. If it isn't, enable something called DRM. The instructions are again given in Discord in a PDF file. For Chrome and Brave, it will not work on Safari. If you're on an iPad, it most probably won't work. If you're on a mobile device or whatever, make sure you download the app and run it. It will not run in a browser. Okay? One small thing to add here is, since there are two platforms now, which is mobile apps and the main other website that we own in-house, video schedules might be different. You might see it on one place and might not see it on another place, because we have to upload it twice. So just keep that in mind and be patient whenever videos are being uploaded. Okay? Install an IDE. That's basically install VS Code. There is a video already available on app.100xdevs.com. Go there and just install VS Code basically before tomorrow. Let's not waste time on doing that tomorrow. Okay? Go through warming up videos. This is basic HTML, CSS videos. You have today, you have all morning tomorrow. You don't need HTML and CSS for tomorrow's class, but you will need it from next week onwards. So make sure you cover these before next week. If you can, Install Node.js will not be needed today, but you will eventually need it. TAs are there, but again, this is a very device specific thing. So make sure you choose some class and install Node.js locally on your machine. If you can, introduce yourself to your subgroup, share your Twitters, LinkedIn's, and make sure you guys follow each other. Your subgroup is basically a smaller group of people on Discord, so that you get a dedicated lot there to talk to. Okay? Not dedicated lot, a smaller group to talk to. Okay? How are classes conducted? So Zoom on the weekends, 7 to 9 p.m., where we learn a new difficult topic. The classes are meant to marinate as many concepts as you can. So it's a lot of concepts. We go very 0 to 1 fundamentals from first principles. At the same time, after the first few weeks, they are very which means there are very too many topics to cover, because a lot of things we have to cover. That said, only difficult things, or like the big high level titles that you see in the course syllabus, we will cover in live classes. A lot of things we'll cover in offline classes as well, especially the difficult bits, the simple bits. You don't need to attend live, but there will be bounties during live classes. So a lot of bounties, probably most of them, would be during a live class. This is to just incentivize people to come. It will be like $250 bounty. So if you feel like it, come to it. If you feel like it wastes your time, because live classes are slightly slower, so feel free to go to the recording. There will be bounties otherwise as well. Assignments on Mondays using the concepts we learned on the weekends. Assignments will be given Monday onwards. Most of the initial ones will have tests. So long story short, what this means is I will discuss this in the live class as well, in which we'll be learning. But after we learn something, you have to write some code, make sure your code actually compiles, works well. And if there are 5 hours that you're spending in a live class, spend 20 hours, 15 hours doing the assignments. That's where you will actually learn. You will basically not learn you learn high level things, very abstract concepts are like see me code during a live class. This is where you learn. So make sure you're doing assignments. Offline videos sometimes to warm you up on what we are learning next week. Some auxiliary videos, which a lot of times I skipped in the last cohort. Chalo, ye to aata hi hoga. I thought people would know this. A lot of times people miss out on basic things as well. To make sure you don't miss out on basic things, we will cover them in an offline fashion. No point wasting the crucial live class time there. Okay? There will be some extra classes, which means some set of extra live classes that were not originally part of it, but I feel like it might make sense. Number one, closer subgroup classes. So you have a smaller subgroup. This live classes will be pretty big, so even though I can tell you that eventually it gets better, but initially there'll be a lot of people. So it's hard to, interact. So for every subgroup that we have, which I think we have 10 or 15, I'm forgetting now, we will do one class dedicated just for you guys. Ki haan chalo, I can answer all of your doubts of people in like groups of smaller groups. So there will be one such class for every subgroup. We will start after the 4th or the 5th week, so that by then you have some coding context and you can ask some actionable questions personally. Still not one-to-one personal, but like a smaller group personal. Okay? So one class for every such subgroup. We will create a schedule and let you know when your subgroup has that class. Feel free to join that class. These might be on a weekday, but we will try to keep it late for people who are working. So like 7, 8, 9 p.m, something like that. Okay. Ad hoc classes on GSOC. Learning something outside the cohort like Web3 or AI. So there will be ad hoc classes. What do I mean by ad hoc? When I say ad hoc, I mean these will be very experiential learning classes on what I'm learning, what I have learned, something outside the cohort that I know. Can be feedback driven, whatever you want. For example, a lot of you wanted to learn Solana. How do you write like web smart contracts in Solana? I know it pretty well. I can teach that. A lot of people wanted to learn trading systems. We can learn that, even though we'll cover that in Zerodha. But you get the idea, okay? Or experiential learning classes, which means this is how I code. I will code some random projects right in front of you. You guys can follow. So these will also be there. These will be extra. These will probably happen on weekdays, but we will try to keep it late so everyone can join, especially people who go to college and otherwise. These are the extra set of classes. And if you don't understand these, don't worry about them. This is just extra content to learn, marinate, and choose some class. The official curriculum is still very 0 to 1 and will feel simple. Don't come here and get overwhelmed. Come here for some motivation. Even if you don't understand things, it's fine. Teaching assistant with an E, should be a typo here. Support. In your Discord subgroups, you will have access to 2 dedicated TAs. See, it's very hard to know how good someone is. So if you feel like your TA is not responding, let us know. We will switch them out. Or if you need more TAs, let us know, whatever. I feel 2 are enough in a subgroup based on the numbers. And these people are basically you. Just keep a few things in mind before you ask them a question. Before you ping them, please go through Docs, ChatGPT. They will shame you with a let me Google that for you link if the question can be Googled. This happened a lot in the last cohort. Okay, people ask a very simple question, which if they just Google the same thing, the first answer is right there. And there is a website called Let Me Google That For You. That's a pretty funny website that feel free to look it up later on. It just has a visual of, Googling that question for the other person. So if that question can really be Googled, this link is what will be sent to you. TAs are told to be, slightly brutal when it comes to this. You will only learn if you, start to be a little self-sufficient. So they are there, but only use them if you are not able to solve an issue for more than 30 minutes. 30 minutes is the cutoff. Then you are missing something, either a concept or whatever, and they can come into your machine and help you out, or not in your machine. They can answer your questions, but again, try to stick to a 30-minute deadline, after which you can ask them a question. Please ask all the questions in the group so that everyone can participate. TAs are not expected to reply on DMs or do video calls. Some of them do it. I appreciate them, but generally this will happen in companies. This will happen everywhere. One-to-one questions are a big no-no. The reason for this is one, other people can help you out. The bigger reason is someone else might have the same question. There's no point replying to technical questions in a DM. Always should happen in the group. You have your subgroup. We can create like another maybe doubts group or whatever. Over there, ask your questions. Don't DM TAs. They're not expected to answer. Some of them do. They're not expected. Links to keep handy. There is every week you will get your live class links in your email. You'll receive them around 5 p.m.ish. You can join around 7. There's app.100xdevs.com. This is the website that I'm saying we've brought in-house. This is where you can contribute to a bunch of bounties. The one bounty that we had already, someone created the code. I still have to integrate it. And eventually the goal is this becomes sort of open source inside the community. You guys can look at it, contribute to it. Let us know actionable things you want here. That will help you learn faster. We will create bounties for all of these things. A few examples are, someone said, video player mein, I should be able to skip 5 seconds ahead, 5 seconds behind. We will create a bounty after the class. I'll create that. I just read it. But anything that helps you learn better, since we now own the code base and we can make changes very quickly in this, let us know in the learning portal if you want to make a change. Suggest a change, make the change, let me know I have made this change, and we'll happily integrate it. We can do it very quickly now because we own it. Discord for doubts. So make sure you're in Discord. Zoom links, make sure your email is correct in the course dashboard. And lastly, app.100xdevs.com is where you'll find all the course content. Bounty pool is 10 lakh rupees at the moment, might increase, we will see, but at least 10 lakh. This will be distributed amongst live class bounties, platform features, the website that we're trying to build, people making good open source contributions and posting about them. I am very excited about the third one. If you make a good open source contribution, let us know, we'll just fund it. If you feel there is an issue that takes 5 hours to fix, you want to give that time, we will pay you for that time, and you can go into a good big open source project and fix it, and we'll pull money out of the bounty pool. And if that incentivizes you to contribute, we're happy to do it. How to get ahead and get noticed? Do bounties aggressively. See, what is the point of why do you want to get ahead and notice? A lot of people don't, which is fine. If you want to just learn and you have your whole thing figured out after the cohort, or what you want to take from the cohort, it's totally fine. If you want to get noticed generally in the cohort for referrals or other things, this is how people who in the last cohort got referrals got noticed. And the people that I ended up referring, there aren't too many, but the ones that I did, they did bounties very aggressively, especially irrespective of whether or not you win. Lot of bounties are going to be used in the course website. Basically, there was this person that would aggressively tag me on Twitter. I did this, I did this. Every bounty he did, other personal projects also he did, but every bounty he was doing, even if it was late, did not care about the money. A lot of times he did something, I told him, let me pay you some money. He's like, fine, I don't need it. His whole goal was, to learn by building. So do that, and let us know you're building something, tag on Twitter, whatever. This is how you get noticed. There's a very big lot. There are a lot of people, but to get noticed, this is the part. Point one is that one, personally you are growing also, and two, you're getting noticed also. And 90% of learning is this only one. It's coding a lot of projects. So do bounties, do hard to do assignments, and build real projects. Tag me. What are real projects, Sarkirat? Any features. For example, a lot of people, almost everyone, not everyone, a lot of people build the Zerodha website clone that we did in the warming up videos. Post it out there, post it on Twitter. You will see eventually these numbers go down. Not a lot of people will do harder assignments. If you are doing them, post them on Twitter. That's number one. Number two is any video feature that you're building. That's a real production worthy thing that you've built that people in the cohort are using, right? For example, the people who built the video player segment creator, that was the first bounty. Post them. Let people know you've built something and contributed. If you're contributing to open source, let people know. Tag me. I will retweet. You will get reach. That is one. Let the world know what you're building. Help out people before TAs. This is also pretty good. As I said, we have TAs, but they're not expected to work like 40-hour weeks. They're part-time. So If a TA is not responding, respond. We're happy to pay you. If you become like the primary person who responds to other students, we're happy to kick out other TAs. Kidding. So, this is helping people out is, this might not help you too much if I'm being honest. Like, this is not great for personal growth. Good to get noticed though. Solve open source issues if you can. At least set up projects locally. Focus on GSOC projects for now. So, yeah, I mean, this is for getting ahead, not getting noticed. This is the time for GSOC. Said this many times. Set up a project locally. At least start to fix issues locally, little. Or at the very least, make sure your machine is good to set up projects. As you learn more and more things and become capable to contribute, at least you've made sure that you can set up projects locally. Have your 5 projects ready. When you learn, start contributing to them. Go week by week. Just focus on the current week for the next 3 months. Don't get distracted. So it's very easy to, I will do GSOC right now. At least for the next 1 month, try to, especially if you're a beginner, focus, go week by week. That's the only high level advice I would give. So, it's easy to get distracted and not learn everything. So especially for people who are, building foundations at the moment, don't get too distracted initially. Who were the best people of the last cohort? People who coded very aggressively, people who took what they needed from the code, but spent time outside as well, doing things that they felt that they were right. So this is a good point to keep in mind. Okay, I don't know all the right things to learn. My pace might not be right. My teaching style might not be right. Whatever. You focus on the title. The thing that is being taught is most probably nice, necessary, and based on the pace of the class, feel like if you don't be pressured into I have to attend every class. If you already know it, don't attend it. If you feel like you can learn the same thing in 20 minutes from somebody else, don't attend a 2-hour live class. If you feel that the class is slow, don't attend it. If you feel it is fast, learn and then go to another place, try to learn it from there. So be very aggressive in, focusing on yourself rather than focusing on a teacher, an influencer, or someone else. Just focus on your own learning. Wherever you can learn that thing from, learn, get ahead, move on. Build a lot of projects on your own, share them with the world. Can't emphasize enough on this. I think I've repeated this a few times, but 90% of learning this, if there is one thing you take from this code, it should be this: building a lot of projects on your own, letting the world know you've built them. Work on Upwork, get your first set of clients. People did this in the last cohort. A few people became like top rated freelancers in Upwork. So yeah, pretty. If you already know a little bit of Mern, you should already do it. If you are in the 0 to 1 lot, ekdam 0 lot, then wait for 2 months. After which, once you can start to at least build Next.js projects, go to Upwork and start to find smaller, underprice yourself and find cheaper gigs to begin with. Contribute to open source projects. That's what differentiates you really. But again, it's hard to do. We will get there when we get there. Oh my god, this blue is my eyes hurt. Okay. Schedule for the next 2 weeks. Offline videos have already been posted. HTML, CSS, basics of a JavaScript, Zerodha landing page assignment kind of a thing. This is done. Find it on the course dashboard. Try to go through it. Try to code it yourself. Post if you're coded it. Orientation, the thing we're doing right now. Tomorrow, we will do JavaScript basics. Understand the asynchronous nature of JavaScript. Practice a lot of problems on JavaScript. And this coming week, I will post some offline videos on installing Node.js on your machine, making sure the process is running, and Git and GitHub, basics of how you can deploy code. Okay? This is going to be the next 1 week. After that, Node.js and its runtime is going to be next week. Communication protocols, HTTP, basics of WebSockets, Express, file, don't even worry about it. Just feel free to read through the titles. If you want to Google before, if you want to read other YouTube, other places, do it. And, be very prepared for the class. And offline videos for that week will be DOM and the basics of DOM manipulation, just to create a very basic foundation for front end. I'm not saying next week will be front end, but like basic front end we want to start building soon. So, you have a basic full stack portfolio thingy ready. So yeah, this is going to be next 2 weeks. Feel free to take a screenshot. Feel free to learn these from other places. Make sure you're very prepared. Be ahead of the class, so that it doesn't get overwhelming. FAQs, let's read through them very quickly. Then we'll open it up for AMAs. I think this is the last slide. Will there be recordings? Yes. It takes around 2 hours for them to transcode. Another hour for summarization and subtitles. After that, you should be sorry. So 2 to 3 hours for it to get uploaded. After which, every video will be recorded and uploaded. Will there be live classes on some weekdays? Yes, but they will be later. They are not part of the official curriculum. They are just extra classes that we have added for extra learning, experiential learning, GSOC setting up, things like these. What is the website for the videos? It's app.100xdevs.com. Credentials are the same as the main website from which you bought the cohort, which was harkirath.classx.co.in. How can I help other people solve their doubts, especially people who are struggling with beginner things initially, are asking very basic questions to try to, like, yeah, if you can answer it, if you feel like answering it, again, as I said, it won't help you generally personally, especially answering, basic doubts by other people. What will help you is if you want to teach a smaller lot. A lot of people are doing it in Discord right now. That might help you personally as well, because when you teach, you learn something better. But doing a lot of shit shoveling of, small issues that people are posting might not help you, but might be good for you to do if you have free time. Okay? Are there referrals? Do well, stay in the top 5%. We create a list at the very end of the cohort. We don't really create a list. We ask people to, fill out a form basically, and I have a list of around 400 people, I think, who from the last cohort, who have their compensation expectations, their experience, their college, things like these in a doc. Someone asks me for a referral, that is the doc that goes to them. A lot of times people don't have to want to read through such a long doc and just ask me to choose someone, and I do. And that choosing happen basis on, getting noticed in the cohort. But that's the only thing that's sort of being committed here. A doc that I will forward to people whenever they ask me to refer. And sorry, this is like very hard for me to read. At the end of the code, and try best to refer to. So I will try my best to refer to ad hoc companies. What are ad hoc companies? Go to my last YouTube video. I've explained it very well. Rather, just focus on GSOC, where there are 1,000 slots. So yeah, this is part I cannot really commit / confirm. Okay, you will get a job by the end of it. What I can confirm is there is GSOC. There are slots there, and this is pretty much, it's a dumbed down smaller version of a remote job. So that is something I'm really excited about. Okay, you guys do, especially people who already know, definitely do. People who are in 0 to 1, who've never coded. As I said, it'll be hard, but at least create that foundation to, start to set up projects locally and contribute to them. Make sure your email is correct on the course dashboard, or else you won't receive Zoom links. So that is the last thing I wanted you to cover. I don't think there's any. There you go. All right, guys, that was it. I'm pretty excited. Tomorrow onwards is when we code. Today, this is just fancy fluff that happens in the beginning of the cohort. After this, you will see me in weird places, and that is fine as long as the mic is good and we're able to code. Things are fine. Might get overwhelming for a few people eventually. Only high level advice here. The thing that I wasn't pretty happy with in the last cohort, was people dropped off. If you've paid this much money, got into a cohort, you have 6 months of learning. I'm not saying you have to attend every weekend over the next few weeks or a few months. What I would say is at least make sure you're keeping up with the curriculum. Else, once you drop off, a lot of people did drop off. A lot of people did try to restart in the last cohort. It's very hard to restart. So once you have momentum already, make sure you're carrying that momentum over the next few weeks. Take care, ji. High level, this was it. I'm scared to open AMA, if I'm being honest here. So let me just talk for a few more minutes. Then I will open chat, but I can almost certainly guarantee won't be able to answer a lot of your questions. So here's how will this happen in the real class? Real class also. Initially, it's a little overwhelming, too many questions. Eventually, people ease out, and a lot of people, beginner friendly method. Initially, a lot of people will join. I will try my best to answer questions there. We will see how things go. But at a high level, TAs are your best resource when it comes to asking personal doubts rather than me. And we do polls basis on which we can decide how to change the pace of the class. But specifically, personal doubts is something I'm trying to figure out. Something again in the dashboard or the platform that we have created. You ask questions there, you're able to upvote, and the most upvoted question is what we answer. Things like these. So still in the works, we will see. But yeah, that was all I wanted to cover. High level alpha would be market. People are saying it's recovering. My guess is Web3 will recover. AI is already and plateaued. So it was a hype, very big rounds, and then slowly plateauing. People are now, finding PMFs. Where exactly is the PMF? There is a lot of fanciness. We can see someone can, a bot or an assistant can, reply to your questions, understand context, but where is the real PMF? We don't know yet. So for that reason, I'm seeing some bottoming out there. There is a plateau. We might not see that level of growth in AI that we did. Web3 it seems like it's on the cusp of a bull. Could totally not be the case and might dump tomorrow. But today, at least, it feels like it's going up. There's a company called Wormhole that sort of I'm close with through circles. They raised $225 billion. It's a very big round. It's bull run, peak bull run, ekdam hypocrisy round. What the hell is happening? That kind of a round just happened recently. That gives me some conviction. Mad Lads, the NFT is doing really well. A lot of high level, I see opportunities in some niches. All these niches require a full stack base. So high level, not promoting. I'm not saying this is not to promote anything. Merge stack is the best thing to do. Full stack is good to have in your belt, even if you're targeting companies like these. Even if you're targeting an AI company, I met this AI founder in SF recently, and this was my first question I asked him: who do you hire for when you're looking for what's your team like? And he said, there is that one lot of machine learning researchers which will not work for us. There are 1,000 reasons for it. They are a little opinionated. They don't want to write code. They want to write research papers. That's a different niche. We don't want those people. We can consult with those people from time to time if we need something very specific. But our full-time employees are good, solid engineers who come into the company and we sort of teach them how AI works, things like these. A lot of AI companies are right now just wrappers on top of ChatGPT or other LLMs. Slowly, LLMs are becoming open source. People are bringing them in-house. So, that dependency is also going away. Not a lot of YC-backed companies, startups, big startups that are raising $10 million, $20 million rounds are, writing LLMs. A very small bunches. They're very heavily funded. The ones that are, they're doing really well. Good for them. What is that company? That's OpenAI, that's Mistral, that's Facebook. It's hard to get. This cohort won't get you there. That's for people who are doing masters and PhDs. Where can this cohort get you? Into companies, for example, every company that's building an assistant, every company that's trying to build a JavaScript library for an open source Python library. Python is the primary stack for an open source library in machine learning. But a lot of times they have like JavaScript variants of it. That is one place where you can contribute. That is one such library I am personally contributing to for a while. Code, the IDE helpers that help people code is another niche of companies that are raising. So all these companies will require a base of full stack. It's good to high level know. AI at this point, it's good to high level know what an LLM does, and then everything else is just API calls. In Web3, it's a little more, you have to understand not maths, like cryptocurrencies, a little bit decentralization, what is money, what are tokens, things like these. Wahan pe you might require some domain knowledge, frankly not even there. My Web3 companies that I've worked for, all the contributions I made, you can go and check. Backpacker course sources of code is like open. Barely any knowledge of Web3 needed. Some private key knowledge needed because it was a wallet, but other than that, pretty simple stuff. And most engineers that I see there are there. There are of course specialized engineers who are really good at Web3 or whatever AI, but most engineers are there. And if the bull comes in any one of these, this is where there will be opportunities. Make sure, there are two things when it comes to getting a job. Number one is how well you know. Number two is the opportunity that you get. There is a very big arbitrage in this. There are people much smarter than me that make much less than me. There are people much dumber than me that make more than me. It's all about this information arbitrage, who you got connected to. So make sure you're getting into the right circles. Specifically for Web3, the circles are, Solana, Ethereum ecosystem. Follow people, the DevRels in these communities, ask them what you're doing, talk to people. I know so many, 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds now who, are in college, but are not decent engineers, not great. Like they're pretty, I saw the code of some people, it's pretty bad, but they were at the right place at the right time. They got into the Web3 community. If you've heard of Tanmay Bhatt's super team, that's also like a small community where there are a lot of young people. A lot of good engineers aren't there. They haven't joined. There's like literally maybe one or two good engineers in that community, but they get a lot of opportunities because there is a lot of need of engineers during bulls like these. So if GSOC is the one actionable thing I can talk about, but this is the other actionable thing that I feel, there is suddenly a lot of opportunity to get a job. So look out for these markets as well. And let me know what of these you want to learn. Some domain knowledge helps. So if you want some basic domain knowledge, how do I create? I talk to a lot of AI companies. I pretty much asked. So Snapchat is one such company. Some engineering leader in AI over there I met, pretty much asked him, what are you guys building? How are you doing AI in Snapchat? So his answer was they've built like an AI bot. I forgot its name. If you open Snapchat, you'll see it. He literally told me what it is. It's the simplest pipeline I could think of. Okay, literally, this is how I would do it if I was building it. Snapchat does the same. It builds a lot of money. They have some monitoring systems on top to make sure it doesn't fall down. But what you think of first principles, is the way to build a chatbot, is how they've built a chatbot as well. So if you want these classes, let me know. Can we build something like this? How would Snapchat create a bot that is aware of your snaps and data, and how it's being done at Snapchat? Things like these. So that domain knowledge might help you a little bit. But again, as I said, if you're a solid full stack engineer, that's probably what 90% of it is. 10% of it is if you have some domain knowledge in AI in Web3, that helps. Web3 I'm more aware of, by the way. AI I'm learning for a while now, and I've started to contribute. Happy to do just learn in a live class. What I'm learning, you learn with me. Things like these. Cool. Anything else I want to cover? Momentum. Have some momentum for the 3 months. make sure you block all noise. Okay, AI is coming, layoffs are there, whatever. No one cares. You focus on yourself. Worst case, you become a good coder. You don't get a job, whatever. It's fine. You become a great coder. You build products. You want to build your own products. You do. There's a lot of power in knowing coding. It doesn't matter if it becomes easy or not in the future thanks to AI. Even if it does, at least you can't just be like AI code for me. You need to understand it. So in the worst case, keep this quote as that. Okay, you learn how to write code. In the best case, keep it as I get a job, an internship, remote, whatever. Okay, I'm going to do a thing now. I'm going to open chat. Would love to have some actionable questions. Going to pause it very quickly because it's going to be a flood of questions. Some actionable questions that help everyone in the cohort. Shoot now. Alrighty. Let's start from the top. All the lectures will be in English. Unfortunately, they will not be in Hindi. How to contribute to GSOC projects, I'm not familiar with. Sure, yeah, that's something we will cover again in extra classes. How to find API for an AI project, and can I use a Scraped API on a project? You probably should not use a Scraped API on a project. You should probably get your own like ChatGPT key and do it, if that was your question. Okay, personal questions going to ignore. Sorry guys, I'm going to keep it very generic because we have time, but again, we want to make sure everyone benefits at least from today's class. It's a high level overview class. Okay, I don't know where I stand in these three categories, but I've been working in a startup as a backend engineer for the last 10 months. But I think my skills aren't solid. You probably lie in the second category. I've built my apps using MERN already. Alright, any chances of getting into GSOC if I'm just starting to code? Very less than 5%. On top of the general odds, which is like maybe less than 0.1% or something like that. If you're just trying to code, very low probability. How to find? Okay, I answered that. Alright, skipped a lot of questions. Okay, one generic question I see is, can I have an internship, a college examination? It's fine. Initially, we're going to keep it slow anyways, but eventually try to catch up. Yeah, but a high level does not matter. It's like 15 hours a week. You can probably do it with your college. Can you please tell us what you will teach in the next class? Yes. This is what is going to be taught in the... So hard. This is... Let's see. I think I skipped it. There you go. You can read through this. This is what will be taught in the next 2 weeks. Sir, I'm beginner, but after 4 years contributing to GSOC projects, skills required to crack banks, a lot of like strat, puzzle solving are the questions that are asked. It depends on the role you're asking for, but if you want to get into finance, generally like a Goldman or a JP Morgan, a lot of maths, puzzles, things like these. Let's see. Can I get a job without a degree? Yes. Is GSOC only for college students? No, it's for everyone. Will I face any troubles with you'll be fine. Any simple machine is fine. Make sure you can run node code in it. 4 GB is more than enough. Any chance you could use Pern instead of MERN? Pern? What is this? I heard burn, which was like use bun instead of node, but what is Pern? I have no idea. Happy to talk later. We'll look this up later on. I will occur using MERN. Which category should I place myself? Probably in the mid category if you know. Just pick and choose, right? Look at the class pace. Most probably, initially, you'll feel like, it's pretty beginner friendly. And then eventually, after a month is when you can actually decide which category you lie into. Are we building just working the app or the well-polished UI? We want to make it well-polished, but it's like, I don't have too much time to fix it. But the website, if you know designers, connect me. Happy to, do it. Sure. If you think it helps you learn, works. But yeah, the app.hendrixdevs.com is the website we have. I'm going to take 10 more questions. Can you help us create a resume? Sure, we can do a class. So, good question. To reach out to startups asking for a job. Long story short is they look at LinkedIn. This has been a recent learning. Okay, everyone I was referring, people ask for LinkedIn. So, here advice high level would be keep your add some experience in there. Don't fake, don't lie. Not an ethical thing to do. At least that is what I will say on a public platform like this. Don't lie on your LinkedIn. But if you feel like you can squeeze in an internship of a year there, I don't know, do it. Don't do it officially. I'm not saying anything officially, but experience helps. If you feel like you can eventually provide them value, LinkedIn is a place where put things. If you've done a 3-month internship, put a 6-month internship, things like these. Because a lot of times people that I referred, I know they are good people, but they are like very early in their career, maybe less than a year. So the first question that was being put to me was, "Okay, this person doesn't feel very experienced." So, but I know they can code like an experienced person, right? So yeah, that's my only high level advice here. Okay, LinkedIn is the place that people, these startup founders look at, or recruiters in these companies look at. So make sure your LinkedIn is prosed up. What I mean by that is make sure on your LinkedIn you have a lot of experience. Resume, no one looks for, no one has the time to look for it. LinkedIn is like resume, right? So just focus on that. If I watch a video, I understand everything. I know loops, oops, basic concept, but still someone gives me instructions to me. I cannot solve the problem. Then I can solve the problem. But in case of real-time project, the mind goes blank. Okay, seems like someone said, okay, I can't build real projects. I can write, if I can do DSA, I cannot do websites. So that's lack of practice. Not knowing a few things and then dropping off when something complicated comes. This cohort is probably the right place for you if you're in that category. Okay, you can do DSA but can't build websites. I've tried the bounty assignment, which seems very difficult to me. It is supposed to be difficult. Please don't try it if you're a beginner. That was, as I said, many bounties, at least for the platform, will be very high level. Don't attempt them, especially if in the beginner category. I saw some of the solutions, but can't understand. You don't have to. This is very early. This is why I'm a little worried about, doing these extra classes, GSOC classes, because people will get overwhelmed. But keep it in mind that the official curriculum is being covered on Saturday and Sunday and offline videos. All the extra live classes are for advanced people or whatever, for to bring people up to speed when it comes to GSOC contributions. Don't attend those classes if you feel you'll get overwhelmed. You don't have to. And also ignore these bounties. How to find the first bounty? We'll create a. Currently, it's in announcements. I announced the bounty, but we'll probably create a subgroup for it where we'll post it. Alrighty. If you have doubts in future classes, I basically open the chat and answer like this. Depends on the speed at which questions are being asked. If we might have to change the structure of the class a little bit, if there are too many doubts, okay, for the first 1.5 hours we learn, and then for another hour we just take doubts. So we will see as time goes by. People who are good in React front end but don't know backend, what about those? If you don't know backend, I mean, pick and choose, right? Then in the backend bit, you're the beginner. In the front end bit, you're not. Just so you make an informed, make a conscious. It's not too difficult of a thing to understand, right? Okay, if you already know backend, let's say, then backend classes don't focus on simple assignments. Just focus on looking at open source contributions and making them. If you're already good in React, then in the React part of the cohort, help other people out. Solve hard to do things like this. So make an informed decision based on the current category of what's being taught. I want to start my career in AI. Will this code help me in the future? Is this useful to know full stack development? So it's useful to know. It depends on the kind of company you're targeting. If you're targeting an OpenAI, then probably not. If you're targeting a startup who's some part of the startup is AI, most of it is a product that people are using, then it will be super helpful because as I said a few minutes ago, they're looking for good full stack engineers, good solid engineers. They said we'll teach everything else. Everything else is useful, Wrappers, and you don't have to get into the maths of machine learning and AI if you want to work at an AI startup that's building an actionable use case of AI right now. What would you define as a good engineer, and how do I know I am one? Is it the best practice usage of implementations? What if there are multiple implementations? Great question. The answer is it's very easy to do it. If there are 100 people, let's say in the cohort right now, around 80 would be okay, good beginner category, simple people, hard to get an interview. 10 people would be great, but their code base is janky. You can look at their code and tell, they're not going the extra mile. The last 10 is good. Most of me, 2 and 3 are able to differentiate themselves. I will give an example. The bounty that we posted, I think there were 80 submissions or 70 submissions. Amongst them, around 80% were the same only, which was the first ChatGPT answer or Google answer that they just copy pasted. A lot of them they did not even solve anything. So you can basically remove a decent lot here. The last 20%, a lot of people built it jankily. What I mean by jankily, the code was janky or the final feature was janky. A lot of times, especially if you're applying at these ad hoc companies, they care about the end feature, whether or not it looks good, feels good. The person that I referred yesterday, the first question they asked me was, "Bhai, are you confident in his UI skills? Looking at his project, it seems like he lacks there. So I messaged him. I don't think I messaged him. I'm going to message him now. Okay, bhai, whatever your open source projects are, make sure they look pretty. And that prettiness ends up mattering. Even for this bounty that I posted, a lot of people were feature complete. It was there. But why would I put an ugly thing on my website, right? I would put something that looks good to me. So, first thing is, making sure you're going that extra mile on, if you're building a front end, you're going the extra mile on the design. Second thing is the code. You can very easily look at the code and tell, okay, it's been written by a good or a bad developer. What a good practice is standard, abstraction, using TypeScript, having the right types in there, things like these. We will discuss these as the code goes by. Does contributing to open source come under moonlighting? Probably not. You're not getting paid for it, right? Nothing comes under moonlighting in India generally. You can find ways to, create a company on your mother's name and route your money in that company, then you're pretty much legally covered. The only thing to keep in mind when you're moonlighting is, you're not being unfair to the company that's paying you. Other than that, you can do it. For example, here, yesterday, the person that I referred, another such question, this is like so naturally, organically coming as these things happened yesterday. The person who was hiring asked, is after the trial, is this person willing to move full time? I know a lot of times when people are contracting, they will find multiple jobs to make more money. So I honestly asked the person, bhai, what's your thing? Do you want to moonlight? Do you want to do it full time? So he has convinced me he wants to do it full time, which is why I connected him. I wouldn't have if that was not the case. I'm not sure. I cannot track from here whether or not he's moonlighting or not. I don't think people care if you're providing value. If you are not moonlighting but not providing value, they will fire you. If you are moonlighting but providing value, you will be fine. Feels weird, but I've done it so many times now. I've pulled off, if you've seen my video, I've pulled off 100-hour weeks. As long as you can keep people happy, they can't even imagine you're moonlighting because you're doing so well in the company. So it'll be very hard for them to think you're moonlighting. Beginner is someone who has never coded before and never coded in MERN. Never coded before. Very basic little coded in MERN, probably someone like that. If you coded decent in MERN, then you're in the second category. Or are you? I'm a little confused. Let's go back to the slide actually. So already know MERN okay-ish or a cohort 1 student is the third category. If you know MERN basic, very basic, and you know some other language, then it's this category. Okay? What are the parameters for a production ready code? The standard practices, but TypeScript instead of JavaScript. Files are in the right places. You have ESLint, you have Prettier, you're writing decent code, you have CI/CD pipelines that make sure your tests break if someone is trying to contribute, writing tests in the first place, making sure your coverage is increasing every time you write a test. Things like these are what impress people, are especially senior people. Extra classes for Solidity Ethereum development. Next cohort in Web3. Web3 is a little niche. If the bull comes by, then sure. Then there'll be a lot of opportunities. Then will be a lot of people who would want to learn. Sure. We already have it on YouTube. The frequency is a little lesser. I think we have 2 or 3 videos right now. The next video in that series is going to be... Okay. Oh, one more thing. These classes, the ones, ad hoc classes, not GSOC contributions, but if you're learning AI or whatever, they'll go on YouTube as well. Keep in mind. The 2-way class will happen for us on Zoom. And then eventually we might post it on YouTube as well. Keep that in mind. And... specifically Solidity Ethereum, sure, happy to do it. We will see. A lot of people are asking about Web3. I'm ignoring the token questions. Have coded Node.js but don't know nothing about HTML and JavaScript. You should probably join. So HTML and JavaScript is very simple. During this is a hard question now. Okay, people are really wanting to decide their category. Okay, I know one another. I don't know. Join. You can switch categories. You can select one role, you will be put in that group. If you feel like, for the next 15 days, I want to be a beginner, feel free to switch the category. That's all I can say. But you have to, pick and choose this role. I wrote this 5 minutes based on, what I think are the categories. But there are a lot of use cases, a lot of, things you don't know. So based on your variation, pick sort of one, and you can always change it. I'm a beginner, but after 4 weeks, I have got the skills to contribute to GSOC. You probably don't have the skills to contribute to GSOC after 4 weeks. You can barely probably understand even after knowing a lot of MERN, you can barely understand the project when you open it. It's very hard. Do not recommend if you're a complete beginner for this GSOC generally. At the end of 3 months, try to look at projects, try to set them up. Don't do it before it, and most probably it will be very hard to get into GSOC, but that is fine. Even I did not. I applied for GSOC in my first year. December only is when I came to know, okay, this is this internship that pays so much. I tried my best. I made some ugly contributions, bad contributions. What do I mean by bad contribution? I committed a 1,000-line file, which was a temporary file that was created. Of course, you won't get in. It's good if you try these ugly contributions because you at least understand Git and GitHub a little bit, but definitely you'll get like blacklisted from an organization. Or by blacklisted, I mean, they will definitely 100% not take you in. And also, when you're really a beginner and desperate for it, right, you will do dumb things like, mailing them. Okay, why are you not looking at my issue? Messaging them. Can I get into GSOC? Why are you opening things like these? Don't do that. Just focus on your foundation at the moment. Yeah. I am a Cohort 1 student but could not attend live classes, but I completed the recordings. I feel really lost when I start a project of my own, though I understand most of the things that you taught. Okay, good question. A lot of people, so this is like standard tutorial hell, right? Okay, I have gone through a cohort. I have learned everything, some through live classes, some through offline videos. At the end, I cannot, create my own projects. So yeah, what is a project? Today, what is a website? Most websites are Next.js 13, front end, back end, and build that. So if you're starting on a project, it's how did I start the app.100xsteps.com? I created a empty Next.js project, decided the database schema, decided the database I have to use, and then just got coding and eventually built it up. If you're not able to do that much only, I think there is lack of practice when it comes to. So it's one thing I cannot understand an open source project. That's fine. It's a big code base, 100 things. If you can't start your own project as well, then there's a problem. There's definitely a problem. Most probably you've learned things from the very top and not done assignments. So that's one actionable advice I would give. And yeah, so you also ask, I am very curious as to how Slido Q&A works and, how WebSockets work and how you can create something like this. Be curious about these things. If you see a website during the code otherwise, especially, these websites that are more than standard HTTP, try to ask yourself, sorry, 1 second. Try to ask yourself, what's that technology that makes them do this thing? For example, in an exchange that is, real-time communication, in a Zoom that is WebRTC, and how videos goes from one place to another place, things like these. Ask these questions, build these niche projects. They're good for portfolio as well. More than portfolio, they'll tingle the right set of neurons on your brain. How things more than HTTP are done. If you don't understand this statement, it's fine. We will cover this in the next 2-3 weeks. But more than a standard website, what is a standard website, Harkirat? Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, simple front end, simple back end. What is a complicated website, Harkirat? StreamYard, YouTube based streaming, how is it happening? An exchange like Zerota, all the challenges that come there, those are solid projects to build, okay? Try to ask smaller questions, guys. It's very hard to, read a big question. All lectures will be in English, yes. Beach may explore out Hindi from time to time, but I'll try to repeat everything I say in English. I consider myself total beginner. As you told, not to give attention to GSOC, it will be overwhelming. But in case we build our foundations, would we be able to reach other level? Previous code people. Yeah, so that's the thing. A lot of learning happens in cycles. That is why I said, if you already know coding, this is the right time to, put the pedal on the pedal and aim for GSOC. If this is your first time coding, this is the time to, build that foundation, go that first cycle in coding. Next time when you're doing it, it will be easier, it will be faster. You will know a lot of concepts. A lot of times people get overwhelmed because, senior engineers are talking about something that you don't understand. A lot of jargon that you will learn here will also, help you at least get into the ecosystem. Else it's like very hard to keep up a conversation in a group of engineers because they're talking about random, what is happening in Bash today and what editor are you using? Are you using NeoVim? Okay, what are your plugins? Things like these. A lot of these conversations you'll basically start to become a nerd, and at least all the things that are being covered in the cohort. Worst case, they just give you there are jargon explainer. These are the standard jargons. This is how you build a website. This is what front end is. This is what back end is. Things like these. And then from there, after you know all of this, GSOC is easier. Learning is easier. Alrighty, going to open chat again. Oh god, pause. Alright. Okay. Internship or contract job? Contract job. Can we skip Linux for now and work on Windows? You'll be fine. Yeah. For the next few weeks, totally fine. Harkis, what kind of bounties can we expect in the cohort? Live bounties, which is during a class, we teach something, and then from first principles, try to solve this. The first person who can solve it wins it. What is a good example here? So never mind. This example will just overwhelm people, but like, yeah, you will see it when you see it. It's like pretty fun, very first principles. And a lot of times bounties are when I get stuck somewhere, when I'm coding and let's say randomly I miss something, a semicolon somewhere or whatever, that also I create as a bounty so that someone can tell me what's wrong. It's to incentivize people to be attentive during the class. How do you know that I'm improving and getting better in every category? Okay. How do I know if I'm improving during the cohort? If you're able to do all the assignments, if you're slowly able to build things yourself, is when you know you're improving. If you're already more than a beginner, then if you're able to read through open source projects, set them up locally, solve issues, is when you know you're getting better. I feel medium rated when it comes to JavaScript and React. Chat still open. Sorry, I missed that message. What exactly is the meaning of a real project? I'm hearing from my college time. What is the kiddo project? What is a real life project? Okay, kiddo project. You use HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You use Bootstrap and you create a pretty looking project that has, I don't know, fancy animations and you feel like this is a very nice project. But will this be used? So this happened to me in college where, I was in part of a college group. This college group would build things like Code Chef for internal college. They would build a YouTube for internal college people to see live matches because back then Hotstar did not exist. So, we would take feed from a TV and distribute it to everyone in the intranet of IIT Roorkee. These are good projects. When I came into that group, I said, your landing page is so bad. Let's make it prettier. Let's look at this fancy website. It animates very well. The seniors were like, no, this is not. Look at any standard website, like Swiggy's website or Paytm's website. It's not the fanciest animations or whatever. It's what is the use case that people can use today. Things like, Paytm, what is the mode there? QR scanning, sending notifications, Paytm box, things like these. So, build these. This is what I mean by real world projects. And along with this, they have a good use case and you're not focusing on making it really pretty. You're focusing on, the use case of it being able to be deployed on a specific cloud, it being able to handle 100,000 connections, things like these. Another way to, find a real world project is thing that people might use. For example, a lot of you are students. GSOC, we are doing so much. Someone has created like a GSOC organizations.dev website where you can just see all the organizations. You can see what organizations came, which year they came in. Let me just share my screen and show you guys. Look at this website. I think this is created by someone random. It's not like an official website. So it's called gsocorganizations.dev if you're, in the recording of this class. Look at this. It's like, I'm sure this gets a lot of visits, especially during, these times when GSOC is right around the corner. Something like this that people are using because people will ask you to, fix things and you'll understand, these are the things that you will be fixing eventually in a company as well. And lastly, the tech stack, making sure it's a modern tech stack, which means look at other open source projects, look at what is their stack, try to replicate it. It changes very quickly. Every year, some new technology is out there. Next 13 is the new next alpha. Every big open source project that I see is moving to next 13 is already using next 13. So that is sort of the last thing to keep in mind when we say, real world projects. How to check subgroup, a step-to-step guide. Join Discord. There are instructions there. Ask people that they'll help you out. How important is it to use Linux? Just use Linux. Linux VS Code on Windows is totally fine. Just make sure you can install Node.js and then you'll be fine. How to choose a subgroup? Beginner, intermediate, advanced. Pick one for now. We will add instructions as to how you can do it. If you don't feel like it's the right crew for you, unselect it, select another group and just join the other one. Okay? Where to practice outside the cohort? Good one. Open source projects. Dub.sh is one such project. Cal.com is one such project. These are basically our stack of projects. find one document, so is one such project. Find such a project that is using the same technologies that we're learning, and checkpoint your knowledge. Create your own projects. Create a project that helps out your peers, your students, your GSOC organization.dev is a good example of this. Okay, you can find PMF for this. Someone will come and visit this website. You don't have to make money from it. I can tell you a few more. Salary band, viewer. Okay, how much does someone at Google make? Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, things like these. These are projects that I can think of because we are in this niche. I'm sure there are other use cases that people have that people want to just read. Projects like these are things that you will learn from outside the code. I'm good at DSA. I used to solve Java. I am learning Java Spring in different platform. I not wrote a single line of code in JavaScript, so you should probably be in beginner, I think. Not written single line of code in JavaScript, and if you're like scared of context switching, maybe be in the first group. You can also be in the second group because second group is what have coded in other languages, done DSA, not done one. Basically, join this one. If you feel like you're overwhelmed, go to the beginner one. If you feel it's very beginner friendly, come back here. We will not be learning design patterns in 0 to 1. All of that might come in 1 to 100. Specific high-level React things that you'll advanced React things, advanced Next.js things we will learn. But architectures, system design are things we'll cover in the 1 to 100. All right. I have 9 years of experience in Android development, new to web development. Any suggestions for GSOC for me? GSOC has, I forgot the name. It has some small set of app development projects. I don't know the organization. Anasa, something like that. That has that's an app dev project you can look at. But you can find others as well. Beginners, but after 4 weeks, I have skills to contribute to GSOC projects. Beginners will after 4 weeks not have the skills to contribute to GSOC projects. Slides PDF, sir. Okay, that's a good point. We will share that 100% 10 minutes after this class ends. Okay? Where we need to tell our category. On Discord, we will share instructions. Don't worry about it. I will announce. You will just have to select one of 3, click on one of 3 options, and then it will just add you to the right set of groups. Hello, Kirat. I'm a total beginner in coding, and my expectations are realistic. Love it. To get a job or internship for a humble amount in order to increase my exposure. Apart from that, I'm also interested in IoT. What do you suggest? Where I can get additional knowledge regarding the same? I don't know about that. Second question. Will code to content will help me? My goal is to become a full stack developer, but IoT is something which excites me. By the way, the thing that excites you might not, so IoT, for example, is something you have to chew glass on yourself. Buy a Raspberry Pi. I have one that I was just experimenting with. Be a little curious in learning there. Cohort might not help there too much. Also, make sure you have a path to get a job there, or you have I'm assuming you have some personal motivation to pursue it. Which case it is fine. But at a high level, the fancy technology is only a good thing to pursue if you have some end goal at the end, which is I know a friend who runs a company in IoT, which is why I want to do it. Or I have personal motivations of building this XYZ thing, which is why I want to do it. This cohort will help you in the, the auxiliary parts of something like that. How to build a website, how to deploy your backend might not help in the exact thing you're looking for here. What are the parameters for a production ready code? Good question. So look at any good project and you'll see. But the high level is key. Writing tests, having types, file structure is correct. No ugly code is written. Indentation is there. You're writing comments in the places that's needed. Things like these. If anyone can come to your project, read through it, understand, and contribute to it, it's a good project. If people come and feel like it's a jank, it's a bad project. Is there a limit to student participation in GSOC? There is 1,000 or something like that. Slots can go up and down, but again, there's some limit at some point. I know DevOps, Python, MERN, average in DSA, not in MERN. Any advice? Sorry for resending the message. No high level advice. Basically the same as for everyone in the group, which is be consistent. Just because one stack does not necessarily mean the next new stack is going to be easy. I hate Java. Never use Java. Every time I tried Java, I fell back to no thank you. I'll go back. I'll learn. I will not do coding, but Java I will not do. So sometimes it's things like these that might come up. Just because you're good in a different stack, this might still feel overwhelming. So just keep that in mind. Everything else is the same. What I have 1.5 years of experience targeting to switch next company in a senior role. Would course for the senior roles for people who know coding but are and at a company but are targeting a bigger company next. I would suggest you focus a lot during the 1 to 100 part. Those are the questions that are asked to senior engineers. The stack it's really not dependent on your stack, that specific interview. So that part might be more helpful for you. 0 to 1 might not help you as much. All right. Is QA role good? I'm not sure. Yeah, never done it. Unsure. AIML master students in USA, how should I use the... If you are an AI master student from the US, this cohort might be a mild distraction for an internship or a job, because, if you're in the US, you're most probably getting an internship or a job in the, via the standard DSA route. That's how I think interviews happen there. Unless you want to build something on your own, or you're targeting, a niche AI company, not a niche AI company, like a startup that you want to go into. If startups do excite you and you're ready to take, 100K salary plus equity rather than a 300K at Google, this course will, be a mild distraction. I would urge you to, get that first Meta offer, Google offer, and then, because it's much easier to get there, also pays really well there. So maybe just focus on those first, and then, you can extract some value from the cohort. Okay. I'm beginner for 4 weeks still. Okay, I did that. There are no Web3 classes. What I said was, we can pick and choose what the experiential learning classes would be. If there are, the curriculum will be what you guys want. Solana development seems like a good option to me, or ETH, smart contract writing, things like this. Or one thing that I recently wrote, which was like how to poll transactions from a blockchain to, add it to your exchange wallet, things like this. How to stay consistent? Yeah. There's no actionable item. Consistency comes a lot from motivation, if I'm being honest. For me, that was, initially I was at a college, I was in a coding group. In the coding group, I can see everyone is very, aspirational and doing really well, cracking GSOCs every year, making a lot of money, going to San Francisco for internships. Unfortunately, that's really hard to do in a remote scenario like this if you're, not in a college right now, or not in a good college. So long story short is going to be experiential class. That's all I can do, which is like in experiential classes, try to come. They'll be very casual, chill, and I'll be doing very high level, exciting things, and try to gain motivation from there. But high level is you be consistent. You are consistent unless you're a CS prodigy and always wanted to do computer science. You can always only be consistent by looking at the end outcome and people, and look up to them and be like them. I know advanced MERN. I can create React projects. Will Next.js server actions replace the way we use APIs forever? Maybe. A lot of people are saying it. Most projects are moving away from Express generally. So long story short, there is a good chance not just this Vercel ends up owning a lot of the developmental pipeline of websites, and becomes like what Docker became for orchestration or whatever containers, they become for websites generally. But we will see. In the end, all of this just depends on what sort of a project you're looking at. All right. Ad hoc classes will not happen in the first few weeks. First few weeks are very beginner friendly. I think after 2 or 3 weeks is when we get there. All right, HTML and CSS, will there be any classes for that? There are already videos on the dashboard. You can look at them. That will probably be the only thing. CSS we will cover a little bit more when we reach Tailwind. Looking for becoming a confident full stack developer who can build any website in React, Node.js, .NET, and deploy it on a distributed environment. And is my experience at par? Okay, so I can't understand your question, but I think it is right. Is this stack enough for building projects? And I guess the answer is yes. I'm not sure if I understand the question completely, though, Puneet. Can GSOC, open source contributions, skills of this cohort, and one internship make me a 10 LPA offer? Yes. If you get into GSOC, if you are able to complete GSOC end-to-end, 10 LPA can be sort of charged based on, enough by then. If you can do GSOC once, 10 LPA is a humble number to ask for. But again, it depends a lot of, finding that company opportunity, things like these. I have built some websites using HTML, CSS, minimal JavaScript. Which group should I? So, if you're having doubts about which group you should be in, pick one. If you don't like it, pick a different one. You can just switch switch them. Uh, 2023 pass out, tier 5 college. Offer got revoked, good at DSA, 6-month gap already. Will there be a problem? Gaps are not a problem. Should I focus on Web3 AI and get a job ASAP? I don't focus on Web3 AI just yet until you've at least mastered or at least been at a mediocre level at MERN. Web3 AI is for finding opportunities, because that's where a lot of remote opportunities exist. Web3 AI is not, at least in this cohort, not the core thing we are going to learn. So don't focus on that just yet. Focus on this always feels like the fancy thing to chase. Oh yeah, let's learn AI. Something else came, let's learn that. Very focusedly, learn focusedly. In a very focused fashion, learn this. There are opportunities in just MERN as well. There are people who go do Web3 but are not able to get jobs there. Don't get distracted. It's easy to get distracted in tech and feel like, I'm not picking the right market. But the actual answer is you're not going deep in one market. So make sure you do that. All right, a lot of questions around which group should I join. Again, just pick and choose. And if you don't like it, just change. How to not feel overwhelmed. So if doubt sessions might help. That's why I introduced them. A lot of people, get overwhelmed and drop off. But other than that, it is just practice. And, not asking questions from other people, from TA specifically, and figuring it out yourself. You will only get confidence, or, you will get that splurge of confidence when you figure out a very big issue on your own. So focus on that. That is an underrated thing people don't talk about. That learning that you get when you figure something out on your own is what leads to extraordinary butterfly effect of you being interested in coding, because now you can do it yourself. So try to get there as soon as possible. I want to know, what can we ask you? Explain a niche design that can reach you. Seems like you want to ask me a niche question. Discord is the right place to ask me questions, although I'm not sure how many I'll be able to answer, but any such business related questions, feel free to ask on Discord. Can we contribute to your website to solve bugs to enhance upcoming days? Yeah, that's the high level idea, but I can't open source it yet because there are some piracy protection things in there that I don't want to open source. I'm trying my best to break it down into 2 projects and then open source one of them, or not open source, just open it to you guys. Do we need any open source GSOC classes for this cohort 1 people? Can we have them? We need some. Okay, sure. There's one class that's pretty good. Let me add that to the course dashboard somewhere. Don't look at that class if you don't know MERN already. It'll be overwhelming, but I'll add one open source class that you guys can look at and get a feel of how we will be doing real world open source contributions to come. What is GSOC? These are the questions that need to be Googled. If you would ask me this, I would send you a link of, can you Google that for me, or let me Google that for you. Google it. I mean, it's there. It's has all the details of what it is, how much it pays, things like this. I read a few open source projects, but every other folder has package.json. But we create React project only one package.json. Very specific question. The answer to your question, sir, is called mono repos, which says in a single repository, mono means single, repository means the code base. In a single repository, you have multiple projects because, as your project grows, you will have small backends, frontends, multiple things. So you create a mono repository in which a single repository you have multiple projects and each project has its own package.json. Tagging you on Twitter is the only way to get your eye on me. Yes, but don't do it on Discord, do it on Twitter. How to set up the environment to prevent dropping off. Surrounding to prevent dropping off. Find a crew of 3-4 people and keep each other accountable is the most actionable thing you can do, I think, for that. Is CI/CD pipeline covered in this cohort? Yes. How to find good code bases and issues on GitHub and contribute to them depending on where we start. Where we stand. So long story short is, firstly, right now, focus on just setting up projects locally. A lot of times people just focus on, that first issue. The problem there is you will, fix a typo issue, not set the project up locally, make a contribution that is, you haven't tested it locally, you feel like this might fix it. So step 1 is just setting things up locally. Make sure you're doing that. After you do that, the right issues after that are not documentation fixes, not things like these. Usually are things like, adding a Docker file, adding something that you feel is good in the code base, fixing adding a prettier ESLint configuration, cleaning up the project, things like these. And then it is, getting domain knowledge of that project, understanding what the project does, and fixing that. Will all remote jobs require us to work in the night, or is there a common misconception? They won't require you to work in the night, but there will be overlaps during stand-ups, so you will have to be up until 11 p.m., 12 p.m. sometimes for stand-ups. That's it. Already done GSOC, currently interning at a startup. Any advantage of doing GSOC? Probably not. I think you can't do GSOC twice anymore, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, no advantage for you, sir. Do you recruiters reach out just based out of on open source contribution? Japan has good pay compared to UK US. So Japan does not have good pay. It's probably the worst paying country when it comes to compensation numbers, especially for people there. And recruiters don't reach out. Usually the CTO will reach out, some technical person will reach out if you're contributing to that specific company's code base. Recruiter does not understand these things. Recruiter, if you have a solid GitHub, recruiters look at that. So yeah, the reason I know this is because whenever recruiters approach me, they say, "Wow, you have now 9,000 followers on GitHub." So I know recruiters know GitHub; they understand it's a thing. But will you get actively reached out? You will get actively reached out if you contribute to React only. You make a very big code base or even a small code change in React. Then of course people might look at your code base and fix it. But again, might not be a recruiter. For me, this happened. I contributed to this project called Pion, which is an open source WebRTC library. They put my name in the collaborators project, and then again a CTO only reached out. I saw you there. Are you good at WebRTC? So yeah, there's no downside. Recruiters might not reach out. Technical people will reach out. To get a summer internship in a startup, is this cohort enough to prepare? Probably. OpenAI has also full stack jobs. In this cohort will help me get there. Where hard, there are multiple reasons as to why that's hard. I know it has full stack roles, but they will probably not hire remote, is what I feel. I could be wrong. There are 1,000 factors. If you want, that's the kind of level you're looking for, you have to build an open source project yourself that OpenAI would want. That is the path to take if you want to get into an OpenAI like company as a full stack engineer. Can you tell what is Web3 in brief? Again, this is the things that you have to Google. High level is Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, decentralization. There is a full Web3 roadmap that I have on my channel. You should look at it. How to not able to find offline videos. Can you help me with the path for offline videos? 1 second. Go to app.100xdev.com. Log in from here, and then you will see your course content, and then go to the course content. You should see the warming up videos here. All right. Cool. Stop sharing. All right. Last 5 questions, and then we'll call it. I have never done GSOC. So which category should I join? Never done GSOC. It was never about GSOC. It was more about, have you done DSC? Have you done basic coding? And based on that, decide. If you've never done coding, the first one. If you've done basic coding, but not in the MERN stack, then second one. If you know the MERN stack, well, then the third one. Please ask TAs to introduce themselves in the respective groups. Yes, we still have to add them. Once we do, we still have to recruit a lot of them as well. Once we do, we will let you know these are the set of TAs for your group. What kind of bounty? Okay, I answered that. All right. I think we'll have to call it here, guys. Thank you all for joining. Excited for tomorrow. These classes are good for motivation, not actionable at all. I hate these classes. The classes that I love are classes where we learn something new. I'm sitting at my laptop and coding and answering technical questions. So that is what is going to happen from tomorrow onwards. If you want to warm up a little bit, go through. Alrighty. Just going to leave the curriculum here. I will also share the PDF right after the class. But go through. This is the curriculum for the next few weeks. Go through at least this JavaScript basics before tomorrow, which is like how to write if, else, for loops, things like these. If you do that, then life will be easy for you. You won't drop off. That's the only high level advice I would have before tomorrow's class. Tomorrow we will understand basics of JavaScript, if, else, for loops, things like these, solve some problems, and then understand the asynchronous nature of JavaScript. How is that different from other languages? Things like these. Very basic foundational class before we, kick things off, start coding actual websites. Cool. Thank you all for joining. I will call it here. And again, these classes, even though a lot of people come here and feel very motivational. What will really help you is a big repository of videos that teach technical concepts, which is what we're trying to create from next class onwards. So I hope to see a lot of you, hopefully a similar number tomorrow. Thank you for joining today. Thank you for being part of the cohort. It's going to be an exciting journey. I'm going to take 20 more questions that came up and then going to call it. Please try to ask generic questions that can benefit everyone. MacBook is fine. What is the difference between beginner and intermediate group? Everyone will get the same set of tasks. What I was saying was, these are the tasks you should do if you're in this category. Tasks will all be the same. Add stages in Discord, we will. I know more advanced MongoDB. Can I get a job 20 LP after this? Depends on a lot of factors. Hard for me to comment based on looking at just 2 minutes of experience. Beginner only, done DSA, CP, but no knowledge of web development. You should probably be in the first group then. Your code and your focus in the code generally should be everything, which is like full stack, front end and back end both, unless you really want to, hate one of the categories and want to just go into back end. Do freelancing and working company comments or moonlighting. I answered that. Working for 3 LP offer, aiming for 6 to 10 LP offer. You should be able to do it as long as you've done repeated advice, which is like, yes, you might be able to do it if you cover everything, go through the syllabus well, and are able to find the right opportunity. Correct. 6 to 10 LPA seems fairly humble for a solid MERN stack engineer who can make open source projects, look at open source projects, understand them, and make contributions to them. All right. Bounties. Let's understand them tomorrow as we go through the class and go through a few of the bounties. But yeah, we'll understand them tomorrow. Have you created any presentation? My eyes hurt because of the colors. My bad. You are not wrong. Especially that blue color was pretty. Yeah. Will you teach industry quality code? Yeah. Can you give some tips for preparing for HFT outside of India? Oof. Let me call someone to do it. So I've worked not on an HFT and an exchange, which sort of is the HFT. You do a lot of standard things, but there are a lot of challenges when you're on the other side and you're not the exchange but the trader. Let me call a few people. I have a few juniors who work in HFTs. They can probably guide you better. But at a high level, if you're targeting them outside India, masters might be the way to go. Very easy to get into a Citadel. Not very easy. It's pretty hard still. But at least you're able to interview for a Citadel or a Jump if you're there versus from India. India, there are companies in Delhi that also pay really well. But if you're looking for outside India, which was your question, then go for a masters. All right, guys. I will call it here. Thank you all for joining. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.